Hi, I'm Stitches, or you may know me as Jess or Where's Jessica. Last year, I hiked the Continental Divide Trail and Great Divide Trail combined. The year before that, I hiked the Colorado Trail, and then the year before that, I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and this year, I am hiking the Drakensberg Grand Traverse, and I'm doing it with the Trek on YouTube. It's one of the hardest hikes in the world. I can't get over the microphone trekking pole thing. It is in the MaLoti Drakensberg Range on the border of South Africa and Lesotho. I hadn't even heard of this hike until a couple months ago. I was invited by somebody through Instagram and I said yes, so now we're going. Some quick facts about the Drakensberg Grand Traverse. It is not a trail, it's a route that connects 6 major peaks in that range, and those are Monto Source, Cleft Peak, Champagne Peak, Mafadi, which is the highest peak in South Africa, and it is called by the locals as Ntlenyana, which means makes me slip, Giant's Castle, and also Thabana Ntlenyana, which means beautiful little mountain, and that is the highest peak in Lesotho. It is over 10,000 meters of elevation gain, which is about 33,000 feet. You're above 3,000 meters the entire time, which is about 10,000 feet. It is something like 150 miles at the high end, or about 250 kilometers. There's not really an exact number because it's not a trail. The whole thing is on an escarpment, which is essentially like a giant cliff, and it just descends down. We'll be out in these wide open spaces, big, epic, and lush and green, and there'll be a lot of caves. And the caves are because it is basalt rock, so volcanic lava flows, in the high berg capping softer sedimentary rock. So the softer sedimentary rock was more affected by wind, water, erosion from freeze-thaw cycles, and so we'll get a lot of caves in that area. And I haven't done a lot of hiking or sleeping in caves, so that'll be exciting. That range was created when Pangaea, the supercontinent, broke up into Gondwana, which is the Southern America, Africa, Australia, India, and Antarctica, broke up with Laurasia, which is the northern part of the supercontinent. It is known as one of the hardest treks in the world because of the tough technical terrain, the challenges of navigation, as well as remoteness, and also the fact that the weather can change very quickly and very violently. We're going to be in there during the tail end of the summer season, so it'll be lightning, thunderstorms, all of the above, lots of rain. So yeah, so we'll see. Should be a real adventure. I don't know why I'm nervous. Little history on Lesotho. It is one of only 3 countries which are landlocked, meaning that it is surrounded on all sides by another country. Lesotho is entirely within South Africa. It's about 12,000 square miles, which is a little bit smaller than Belgium and a little bit larger than Maryland. The population is 2.2 million, which is approximately the same as Houston, Texas. And it is landlocked because it was originally populated by San Bushmen, who then consolidated to form the ethnic group, the Basuto people. Then it was united and consolidated under King Moshoeshoe I. The Dutch settlers in South Africa did try to take Basuto land, but they were able to resist because of the mountainous region in which we're hiking, and also because there wasn't really a lot to extract. The main natural resource was water, which wasn't that valuable then, but maybe will become more valuable as climate change continues to take its course. We don't know. However, they did lose a lot of land in those wars, so they sought protection from the British under Queen Victoria, and they became a protectorate of the British Empire in 1860. I feel like I'm giving a middle school presentation on history. That's what this feels like. Why am I bad at talking on camera? I can't talk on camera. I know how to do this, and I don't feel like I can do it. Oh. They resisted incorporation with South Africa, partially due to apartheid. And they gained independence from Britain in 1966, and that's when they became Lesotho. However, it's still economically very dependent on South Africa. In fact, its currency is actually pegged to the South African rand. The primary industries in Lesotho are agriculture, livestock, manufacturing, and labor in South Africa, like migrant labor. One of the major headwinds in Lesotho has been the impact of U.S. tariffs, particularly on the textile manufacturing industry. Another major issue has been the gutting of U.S. aid, which went primarily to funding HIV and AIDS treatment and prevention. Lesotho has one of the highest HIV and AIDS prevalence rates in the world, and it disproportionately affects women. And there is so much to unpack there. There is social stigma, sex education, labor migration, gender violence, and inequality, lack of access to healthcare due to geography and terrain. All of that contributes to the very high prevalence of HIV and AIDS. Lesotho faces high food insecurity, and over half of its population lives below the international poverty line of $2.15 a day, which is something like $780 for the year. That's like a quarter of the value of what's on my back right now. So important, I think, to recognize that disparity. I'm saying all of that because I want to recognize the privilege that I have in being able to just decide to come and hike there, because it's important to recognize that I'm recreating in that context and honor that context. And I don't think that privilege is about feeling bad all the time, but I think it is important to recognize that I get to come here and enjoy the benefits without necessarily having to deal with the socioeconomic and political challenges of actually being from that place. So I'm 100% certain that I'm going to make mistakes in how I talk about the country. I'm socialized as a product of our society, so for sure there's going to be all of that in what I say and do, but I am going to do my best, and I'm open to being educated. I don't think that not knowing is an excuse for not learning. And if someone wants to invest time and energy into educating me, then that is a gift. It's all important to think about as I am going to another country to go hike. For that reason, we're also hiring a guide, a local guide who will act as a translator for us. There's going to be a lot of Lesotho shepherds in the area in which we're hiking. It'll be nice to have someone there so we can talk to the locals and be part of the culture as opposed to just exploiting its landscapes for content, so to speak.
Okay, I have our guide's name. His name is Kaithis. Oh my gosh. Kaithis Dilizamagugu Mtabala. Kaithis Dilizamagugu Mtabala. I'm gonna get Google to pronounce it.
Kaithis Dilizamagugu Mtabala.
Okay, I think I did a better job than that.
That being said, I'm super excited to be doing this hike. It's going to be beautiful. The landscape looks absolutely stunning. Just views for miles on these high escarpments and plateaus. I did download the bird pack in Merlin for South Africa, so I'm looking forward to seeing what new birds I'll hear out there. And I am also really looking forward to just being in a new region. I haven't done a lot of hiking in this territory, and looking forward to hiking with creators. It's my first time hiking with other people who also make videos, and I think it'll feel like having colleagues, which will be really nice. Very exciting to see 4 different perspectives from the same hike. I'm doing a little bit of a different setup with my gear. I'm taking a lot more clothing than I normally do, primarily because I think it's going to be so rainy, and I do want to just keep a layer that is consistently dry just for warmth. I don't think anything that I have is going to stay dry if it's really torrential downpouring, and the strategy is going to be keep moving, stay warm through activity, and keep a layer that's just dry inside of my pack and preserve the waterproofing of the most important things like my quilt and my dry sleeping layers. I'm sticking with my tarp, and I'm not using a tent. I may renege on that decision, I don't know. So we're gonna push the limits of the tarp and see if it works. I may be wrong. No, it's so short. It's only 9 days that I think I'll be fine. If I have to be really uncomfortable one night, that's fine. And then the other thing that I'm doing differently is I have so much food left over from when I hiked the CDT and GDT. So I am taking like all of those snacks with me. I have 10 days of snacks with 4,000 calories each. So who knows? I might get sick of it. I don't know. We'll see. But I may make more changes before I actually start on this trail. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm super excited, and see you on the next one.